Not every level becomes legendary. Most are fun for a few hours, then fade away. But then there are the rare ones, the levels that broke rules, set trends, or left players stunned in silence. Those are the levels that stick with you long after the credits roll, and those are the ones we're talking about today. These 10 legendary game levels did more than challenge us. They became cultural landmarks in gaming history. One of them even taught millions of players the basics, without a single line of text. I'm Matt from The Gaming Mattress, and whether through shocking story beats, masterful design, or unforgettable imagery, each one of these levels carved out a permanent place in our memories. The silent cartographer from Halo Combat Evolved. Right from the drop pod hitting that sandy island, the game threw you into a battle that felt massive. Waves crashed, gunfire echoed, and instead of locking you into a hallway, Halo let you treat the whole island as a combat sandbox. You weren't told exactly where to go, you got to choose how the fight unfolded. Relative to its contemporaries, which often stuck to linear, scripted firefights, the silent cartographer felt free and dynamic. You could storm the beach with AI marines, flank around through side paths, or hop into a warthog, and nothing matched the rush of loading marines on board, gunning the mounted minigun across the dunes, and blasting straight into an enemy stronghold. That blend of choice and chaos was unforgettable. The island's layout encouraged replay after replay, each run pulling you in with a new story to tell. It showed Halo wasn't just about shooting, it was about strategy, cooperation, and cinematic moments that seemed too wild to be scripted. That kind of transforming environment set a standard. And our next entry takes that same idea of place as character in a completely different direction. The Raccoon City police station from Resident Evil 2. A police station should feel normal, offices holding cells stacks of paperwork. Instead, this place hit you with a weird mix of gothic architecture inside a public building. Huge statues looming over the main hall, ornate staircases creaking under your steps. It was unsettling, but also unforgettable. What really made it work was how the building functioned like one giant puzzle sandbox. Locked doors teased you to come back later, emblems slotted into strange pedestals, and entire wings of the building opened only after stashing and retrieving items from the supply lockers. The 2019 remake doubled down on this with more tactile puzzle elements and smoother item stowing, making the process of returning and retrying feel natural rather than tedious. Every room was both a threat and a clue. And then there was Mr. 10. His slow, heavy footsteps meant that even familiar corridors could turn into suffocating traps. He wasn't just a boss fight, he turned exploration itself into something you feared. Games often try to teach you systems without words, but few environments balance danger and discovery this tightly. World 1-1 from Super Mario Bros. It looks like a simple starting stage, but it quietly set the standard for how games teach players. There are no manuals or pop-ups, just a level that explains itself as you play. The very first Goomba walks straight at you. If you freeze, you're done. If you jump, you instantly learn the game's core mechanic. A little further in, pipes block the path. Some act as walls, but pressing down on the right one reveals a hidden route. That moment rewards curiosity without punishing mistakes, and it makes you want to try everything. What makes this more than design luck is intent. Miyamoto later said the level was built to teach players through play rather than text. Every step is a lesson disguised as fun. The fireworks on the flagpole at the end, that's the game congratulating you for picking things up. This one stage became the blueprint for Teach by Design tutorials, affecting nearly every game that came after. And while Mario eased you in gently, not every iconic level cared about being kind to new players. The Water Temple from Ocarina of Time. Just saying the name brings back a mix of groans and nostalgia. 3 words, the Water Temple, and suddenly you remember the pauses, the menus, and the endless tinkering with gear. Everyone has an opinion on it, but nobody forgets it. The challenge wasn't about stronger enemies. It was about thinking vertically in a way few dungeons had ever asked. You had to raise and lower the water through the entire temple, then revisit earlier rooms to see how they changed, and layered on top of that was the constant equipping and unequipping of the iron boots to sink or float between levels. That slowed the pace to a crawl, but it made every decision feel deliberate. Was it maddening or masterful? That depends on how much patience you had. The design asked you to commit, slow down, and analyze shifts across multiple layers of the dungeon. A rare kind of puzzle loop. And to the game's credit, later editions like the 3DS remake streamlined the worst of the friction, making boot swapping far less painful. It was notorious for how much brain power it demanded, but that's exactly why people still talk about it. And speaking of tension, the next stage on our list built its reputation not with puzzles, but with an atmosphere so quiet it kept players holding their breath. All Ghillied up from Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Instead of the usual wall of explosions, this mission pulled you backward in time with a black and white film reel effect, signaling a flashback before dropping you into one of the most tense sequences in shooter history. In a ghillie suit, belly to the ground, every inch you moved felt like it could give you away. The grass wasn't decoration, it was survival. What struck players was how much it slowed everything down. No endless firefight, no non-stop chatter, just distant boots crunching by or the rumble of an armored vehicle rolling inches from your face. It turned patience and concealment into gameplay. Every movement mattered. If you love stealth sequences like this, drop a comment with your favorite stealth mission. It's always great to see which ones people remember most. The mission also gave control back to you, choosing when to crawl, when to freeze, and when to squeeze off a single shot made it feel like you were living through the tension, not watching it on rails. In a series famous for chaos, this flipped the formula, and that's why it remains a touchstone for stealth missions in shooters. And while stealth forced you to stay small here, the next level on our list threw you into a space that made you feel the exact opposite, lost in the shadow of something much, much bigger. City 17 from Half-Life 2. From the moment you step into it, the place feels like a cage. It's not action or gunfire that sets the tone. It's the constant watchfulness built into every street. The Citadel looms over the skyline like a reminder you'll never escape, and PA announcements echo through the alleys, dripping with propaganda. You're not in control here, and the game makes sure you feel it. Guards patrol with expressionless masks, cameras track your every move, and the people, heads down, avoiding eye contact, moving like they're trying not to be noticed. It's intimidation baked into the setting, and you absorb it just by walking around. Valve leaned into that old Eastern European vibe, tight courtyards, grey brick walls, uneven streets, to make the oppression feel lived in. So, when the rebellion finally sparks, combat hits differently. It's not spectacle, it's release. The weapons don't just clear enemies, they cut through hours of bottled up dread. City 17 showed that a game world doesn't have to sit in the background, it can be the story itself. And while this city felt crushing, the next world flipped it completely, bursting with color, speed, and sheer energy right from the opening seconds. Green Hill Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog. The first thing you saw was pure energy. Bright skies, checkerboard hills, palm trees waving in the background. And then came the loop-de-loop, instantly showing you this wasn't about careful platforming, this was a game built for speed. Level geometry explicitly rewards momentum. Loops, springs, ramps, everything pushes you forward. Instead of punishing you for running, the terrain encouraged sprinting, bouncing and chaining movement into a flow. That mechanical promise was the heart of Sonic's personality. Green Hill announced it clearly, speed first, exploration second. The visuals sealed the memory. Clean lines, bold colors, and simple patterns felt striking and instantly recognizable. And the theme music is as memorable as the visuals. bouncy, energetic, and forever linked to that first dash across the stage. Sonic wasn't just Sega's fast answer to rival mascots. This level proved he stood on his own. It's iconic because it's been remade or referenced in multiple Sonic titles and even outside the franchise. One glance, one note of the song, and everyone knows what it is. But while Green Hill was welcoming and kinetic, the next entry on our list turned a familiar space into something far more unsettling. The library from Metro 2033. At first it just looks like another ruined building. Broken shelves, crumbling walls, dust hanging in the light. But once you step inside, you realize the real danger isn't the debris. It's the librarians, and they don't fight like normal enemies. Here's the twist. Aggression gets you killed. If you shoot, they'll rip you apart in seconds. The only way through is unnerving. You have to stand your ground, lock eyes, and refuse to run. They punish panic and force you into non-combat survival tactics. The fear is procedural. Every tiny movement can trigger catastrophic failure. The game gives you a brutal kind of stealth lesson. Move slow, don't shoot, and never look away. It's less about firepower and more about nerve, which makes your palms sweat harder than any massive firefight. The library etched itself into memory not because of endless enemies, but because it made you treat survival as discipline. And from that suffocating ruin, we go to a place that feels the complete opposite. Grand, open, and shining with false promise. Anor Londo from Dark Souls. After hours of grim, claustrophobic areas, this city opens up in a way that almost feels unreal. Clouds part, sunlight hits gleaming marble towers, and cathedral-scale architecture stretches in every direction. For a moment you just stop and stare because it looks too perfect to belong in the same game. But Dark Souls never gives you wonder without risk. The courtyards are guarded by towering knights whose swings feel like wrecking balls. Then there are the infamous archers, silver knights pinning you on narrow ledges where one bad angle sends you flying. It's less about reflex and more about steady positioning under pressure, turning the approach into one of the most nerve-wracking stretches in the entire franchise. And at the heart of it waits the Ornstein and Smo boss fight, a tag team test that breaks countless players on their first run. Defeating them earned the lore vessel, cementing Anor Londo not just as a visual peak, but as the narrative backbone of the game. Anor Londo is where beauty and punishment intersect, and that contrast is why it's unforgettable. And as striking as it is, our final entry shows that sometimes the moments we remember most aren't massive battles or views. They're the ones that hit us straight in the gut. The opening of The Last of Us. Instead of dropping you into an early tutorial or shootout, it begins in a child's bedroom, with small details like a phone call, late night chatter, and the calm of an ordinary evening. That choice to frame the story through a child's perspective makes the shift from normal life to collapse hit harder, because you're seeing the world break apart from someone powerless to stop it. The chaos outside builds fast, cars swerving, people shouting, the street turning into panic. But you're not saving anyone, you're just trying to escape, running in confusion. That helplessness locks you into the human side of the outbreak. You're not a hunter or a hero, you're just family caught in disaster. Then comes the moment that redefines everything. What sticks isn't the spectacle, but the personal loss that pushes the story forward. From here on, you know this game won't be about mowing down monsters. It's about what grief leaves behind. How did that opening make you feel the first time? Let us know in the comments. The way it sets a personal, morally messy tone carries through the entire journey. And it's why this level is remembered as one of the most powerful openings in gaming. Legendary levels don't just test skill, they reshape how we play and how we remember games. Whether it's through innovation, atmosphere, or emotional payoff, these moments prove level design can stick in our heads long after the credits roll. So tell us the one level that changed how you played. Drop it in the comments. If you want, add a timestamp of your favorite from this list so others can jump right to it. And if you liked revisiting these moments, click the like button and subscribe. We've got plenty more gaming legends on the way. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, enjoy your games.